Hey, this is Matt with Red Root Defense. And all right, today we're down in the basement, in the dungeon, in the shop. Um, I just had something that I thought was interesting and you might want to see. I've got a shotgun here I'm going to be doing some restoration work on. Um, and it's an older shotgun that some of you may never have seen before. And I'm going to be a little wobbly today with the camera because I'm actually having to hold it. Anyway, so what we have here is an Iver Johnson, which is a company that's been around a long time. I think the name is back now, but I don't think it has anything to do with the original company, which started way back in the 1800s. Let me flip this over so maybe you can see. I don't know what that was. Maybe you can see that, but the actual inscription on this particular shotgun is Iver Johnson's Gun and Cycle Works. Let me see if I can get it a little bit closer to you. There it is, maybe. Iver Johnson's Gun and Cycle Works in Pittsburgh, Massachusetts, I believe. USA. Anyway, this was the second or third iteration of their plant. Iver Johnson was actually a Norwegian, I believe, and he moved to the U.S. Ended up working, of course, they made bicycles too, but he ended up designing guns and building guns for quite some time. Founded the company that had his name on it. He did a lot. They were famous. Iver Johnson was famous for their, if my memory is correct, I think it's called the safety pistol. They had a double action revolver that actually had a transfer bar in it. They were the first company to do that. It was his design, which a lot of companies have gone to using now. But that was the thing. It was called Hammer the Hammer because you could beat on it all day long and it would not shoot unless you pulled the trigger. And so this was back at the turn of the century. It was quite a big deal. But anyway, so this particular shotgun, like I said, you may or may not have seen one like this before. Get my idiot sheet out so I don't tell you something wrong. This is called an ejector, semi-hammerless ring trigger junior model. All right, the way this works, obviously I've got it apart. But semi-hammerless because the hammer is kind of bobbed, which is interesting. But it is an external hammer, obviously. And there's the trigger, and there's the ring. This ring here is actually what enables you to break the action. Pull that, you can see how this works down in there. That releases the lock, enables you to open the shotgun. Obviously, it is a single shot. This was a single twist browned barrel, which is a little bit different than blued. Not uncommon for that period of time. This shotgun was made between 1901 and 1908. Also, Iver Johnson did not start producing guns designed for smokeless powders until after 1908. Well, in 1908 and beyond. So this particular shotgun was not designed for smokeless powder. It was a black powder only rifle shotgun. That's not to say that there's not been a lot of these fired with smokeless powder rounds, because they're technically can probably take it. But there's been a lot of, from what I read, there's been a lot of instances where people had these guns and they quit working over a period of time because they started coming apart. All the tolerances were loosened up, a lot of the parts, because of the pressure being so much higher in smokeless powder. Like it can take it, but only for so long, and then it kind of renders itself unshootable without necessarily blowing it up. But anyway, so it's a brown barrel. One of the interesting things on this, obviously, is there's a lot of electrical tape here. The butt plate on this shotgun is gone. It looks to have been replaced with a piece of leather that's being held in place by this electrical tape. So that's something I gotta work on here. Also, the way this fits in, you see that that hole there. There's a pin that goes there that fits in here, which is where the shotgun hinges. If you've ever taken apart stripped a more modern single barrel shotgun, most of the time this operates on there's usually a curve here, to where it just kind of comes off, and there's a pin already in the actual receiver. This one was a little bit different. This actually has a pin that goes through it, and what had happened was, the way this pin works, obviously there's a detent on this pin, and if you look underneath the receiver, you'll see that lever right there. Well, that lever, it's hard to do one-handed. Lever goes up and down. If you look in the hole, probably you can't. There, maybe you can see it there. When I press that, it goes up and down. You can just barely see it in there. But anyway, that fits in this detent, in this pivot pin, and that's what keeps this all together. Well, sometime over the period of time, this pin was lost, and this shotgun spent a good part of its life being held together with a bolt. So the bolt went through, and on one side of the receiver there was the nut. It worked. No telling how long it had been there. Been there quite a while. I managed to find an original pin that I can put back in here. It's probably going to be fairly loose because this looks kind of loose. But then again, this is not really going to be a shooter anyway. So I'm going to spend some time working on this stock. This is an American walnut stock. Actually a pretty piece of wood. And getting some of the surface rust and corrosion off this receiver and off this barrel without messing it up too bad. Overall, it's in pretty good shape considering it's old, and it probably spent some of its life up under a truck seat or something like that. So hopefully you can get it cleaned up well enough, and it'll be a nice wall hanger for somebody. But anyway, so there you have it, an Iver Johnson ejector, semi-hammerless, ring trigger, junior model. Oh, and the junior model was because it only had a 26-inch barrel. This was made, I believe, with up to a 32-inch barrel in the full-size model. So, and I don't have any reason to suspect that this was actually cut off. I don't think that this ever came with any kind of a bead on it. So I don't think this was ever actually cut off to make it shorter. It doesn't really look like it to me, but I could be wrong. If I find out something any different, I will tell you. I'll update this video later. So, all right, anyway, there you have it. Early 20th century Iver Johnson 12 gauge shotgun made for black powder. Hopefully we're going to get this worked up, cleaned up nicely, so somebody can enjoy looking at it for quite a while. And you may not have ever seen one before, so here you go. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe, share it, hit the little bell so you'll be notified when more videos come in. I appreciate your time and putting up with my shaking camera. Have a good day, and I'll see you next time.